Welcome to Season 3 of Love Married Moments. We're back.
And this season, we'll be working on self-care. Self-care for the individual, for the marriage, and your other relationships. In this season, we're going to go with a little bit of a different format. We've invited some guests that will share with us their love story and how, over the years, they've learned to take good care of themselves, their marriage, and their other relationships. Today we have
the Berries. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
It's an honor to have you.
Thank you for having us.
Took the invitation. Toi is always talking about how we know you take care of your love because we seen you in the airport. And that represents to us travel and self-care. Mm-hmm. So we're so honored to have you today. We respect your love and we respect your ministry. And we're excited about hearing about your story. Mm. So why don't you tell us a little bit how long you've been married and how you met?
Well, we've been married 54 years. Our anniversary is August 7th. We met through the church. When I came to Topeka, through the military. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I was stationed at Forbes Air Force Base when I was married. I wasn't saved when I got here. I gave my life to Christ May 19th, 1970 after I got here. And so through the church, Sister Berry would come down and visit Faith Temple, and we got to, we met through the church. And Sister Berry at that time had a lot of pen pals that she corresponded with through the military, and we started corresponding as brothers and sisters in the Lord. And then the conversations began to get more serious, and pretty soon it became an item, and I would start going down to Kansas City to see her. I told everybody I had a 66 passenger vehicle. It was called Greyhound. And I would go down there to see her. And when we finally did decide to get married, she always teases me and said I never did ask her to marry me.
And he did not.
I said, I did ask you to marry me. She said, no, you did not. She said, this is what you said, because I was still in the military. I asked her, if I have to go overseas, will you go with me? She said, that's what you said.
Because there ain't no be no shagging. That was not happening.
That's those things that we call perpetual problems that are an issue, but it's not a deal breaker. Mm-hmm. And so 54 years later, she's still saying, you didn't ask me.
Nope, did not.
But I also teased her. I said, I took a chance on her. And she said, what do you mean? I said, because I didn't know if you could cook or not. Because every time I come down there, you be entertaining me while Mama was cooking. So I didn't know if you could cook or not.
But he's still living.
Yep.
Gained some weight. So I can cook.
Yes, you can.
But I was born and raised in Kansas City, Kansas. Mm-hmm. And went to Sumner High School, the all-black school. And it's strange because my granddaughter said, you went to all-black school? How many fights did y'all have? I said, we didn't have fights. I said, we loved each other. We had fun. You know, with no fights. It was all-black school. I said, and? I said, you all have those issues now. We didn't. But anyway, I used to come to Topeka quite often for musicals, revivals. Bishop Stitt, I admired him. I loved him. He was a pastor of Faith Temple, and me and Sandy Lassiter and Trudy Massey then were good friends of mine. And we would travel from Kansas City, meet a group of people, and come to Topeka. And we always ended up at Faith Temple for something, and she introduced me to him. And that's how the ball got to rolling. And 54 years later, and 4 children and 17 grandkids, we're still together.
Yeah.
How would you describe, once you got together, what your love story is? What's the formula that made your love story your love story?
One thing we decided early in our marriage is never to go to bed angry. Now, there were a lot of late nights. But that, I mean, we would sit down and talk things out, and we worked together as a team. It wasn't like, that's your job, my job, whatever. I found out there were some things she didn't like, She didn't like to clean bathrooms.
Oh Lord, no.
So I clean the bathrooms. She knows I don't like fat on my meat. So she cuts all the fat off my meat. So we compromise. so, and when I say compromise, because a lot of couples say, well, marriage is a compromise, 50-50. I said, no, it's not. It's 100%, 100%. If you want your marriage to be successful, both parties have to put 100% into that marriage for it to be successful. And so those are some of the things that I, from my perspective, that we did to make our marriage successful.
And, when we first got married, I was a communicator. I held things in and I didn't talk. I wasn't one of those to talk things out. And I learned through that in order for us to have a successful marriage, I need to talk. I need to share things. So my heart, my mind. And so I began to relate by opening up and saying some things. Because you're scared what you're going to get back.
Yeah.
What's going to come back at you.
Yeah.
But we started communication, and my mom told us, she said, watch your 3rd, your 7th, and your 9th year of your marriage. Because those are years when things happen. You don't know where they come from, how it happens, but it does. And we realized that she was right. We didn't know it. We don't know what caused things to flare up the 3rd year or flare up the 7th year, but it did. And we took our marriage vows seriously. For better, for worse, for richer, for poor, sickness and in health. For better, for worse, no matter what's going on in your marriage, it's going to get better. We got past that 3rd year, got past that 7th year, got past the 9th year, and we're still together. But it came, things happened all of a sudden that we didn't know how it happened or where it started. But she always said, watch your 3rd, your 7th, and your 9th year of your marriage. Those things hit on those years, and it stuck with us. And when it did, we said, wow, she was right. It's amazing. But we made it through things. I mean, I fell in love with him because of who he is, how he carried himself. He was a man. He respected me. Opened my car doors for me when I got there. I wasn't used to that growing up.
Still do.
And he still does that. Open the car door for me. Expressed himself to me. Things he did just attracted me to him, and being the gentleman that he was, I just fell in love with it. That makes sense.
Well,
it did for us.
And another thing her mother told us was to stay on your honeymoon.
Stay on your honeymoon.
Amen.
And she and
unpack that one, Pastor.
Some people say stay on your honeymoon. How are you gonna do that? And what she was saying is we knew we could not physically stay on our honeymoon, but what she was trying to say is the same intensity, the same love, the same excitement you had on your honeymoon. Try to maintain that throughout your marriage. And we found out that a lot of time it's not the real big thing. It's just the little things that you do. We don't end a conversation without telling each other we love each other.
Don't leave the house without telling each other we love.
We have a lip pressing thing.
Well, see,
that's the lips.
That's another thing, because she told me this morning she didn't get a kiss this morning, and because
her lips were dry.
Because I always put chapstick on before I leave the house and give her a kiss before I leave.
Chapstick.
And so she knows.
Pastor, I have to carry chapstick with me.
I always have
it. She don't carry her own. She always asks me for my chapstick. So
I had to back up. I had to back up, but I always get my chapstick from him.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but that's how I get my chapstick in the morning.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's
we always say I love you. We don't leave the house without saying I love you. And it's not a ritual. We mean it. Because he might not make it back home.
Right.
I might not make it back home. We always make sure that we tell each other that we love you when we go to bed, when we leave the house.
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 1, how old are you? You don't look.
I'm 32.
That's what I'm getting. How you getting there 54 years at this point?
I'll be 75 next year.
I'm already 75.
Y'all need to stop.
Pastor Watson told Pastor Berry he married.
I stole it from the cradle.
I'm thinking we need a show on skincare. Something's going on here. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, no, that's what Sister Berry used to tell me when she worked at Highland Park. Said, black don't crack.
Yeah. It might not, but it does get a little dry. But you don't look. You look beautiful.
I think so.
You really are.
I don't try to stress. and worry.
Mm.
I just.
And it's helped since she retired from Highland Park.
Oh God, hallelujah, thank you.
I'm serious.
But retiring gonna change your whole life, won't it?
When I retired from Highland Park, I was there 22 years, and when I retired from Highland Park, I loved it. I loved the kids. I loved the parents, but it was changing. Anyway, I went back to visit the staff there, and one of the teachers came in, and she saw me in the office, and she says, "I didn't know who you were." She says, "You look different." I says, "No more stress. Y'all not bothering me no more." She says, "Your face is just so clear." I said, "No more stress." I didn't realize that until I saw a picture I'd taken at Highland Park, we do every year. Mm-hmm. I looked at that picture and looked at what I was then. After I retired, what happened? I said, "Wow, I looked horrible." Mm-hmm. You know, it's
I don't think you looked horrible, but you definitely look beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You really do.
God and Mary Kay.
Hey,
Mary Kay face wash.
No, I'm thinking that's the Holy Ghost. You wear your love. We can see it in both of y'all. Both of y'all. We can see it and you wear it.
You really do.
That's like glory that we can see.
Yeah, and we enjoy being in each other's company.
Yeah.
You know, some couples are just, I can't wait till we get apart, but we enjoy being in each other's company. We enjoy getting away just for little getaways. I mean, it doesn't always have to be a cruise. It could just be going spend the night at a hotel somewhere.
Amen.
You know, just getting away. And I remember when she was working at high school, and I think at that time we'd been married about 35 years, and she was telling some of the kids at the high school how long she'd been married, and they said, "You mean to tell me for the last 35 years you've been waking up every morning looking at the same face?"
Yeah, those vows meant something. Yeah. They were vows. Yeah.
I want you to consider, because we're going to shift here a little bit, because it's just a beautiful love story and you wear it well. Now, how do you maintain that kind of love in that marriage and ministry?
And what happened during the years of them kids you gave birth to?
Oh,
which is a part of ministry, you know, serving families and then serving families. Yeah. How do you maintain that level of love and be effective in ministry? Do your self-care.
And I think I heard this from Pastor Watson, and it made perfect sense. And he let us know the church is the bride of Christ. It's not my bride. She's my bride. So I have certain responsibilities to the church, but my first responsibility is to her. I think what a lot of pastors fail to remember is the family was the first unit instituted by God.
Right.
So they want to spend all their time at church and neglect their family, and that's not pleasing to God, because your family is your first responsibility. And so through the years, we tried to remember that, but one of the things we also tried to do was we never wanted our kids to grow up and say, "Well, if it wasn't for the church, you could have did this, you could have been here, you could have been there." We went to many baseball games with our clergy collars on after communion Sunday and stuff like that.
Just run down the court and stuff.
Because we weren't gonna let them. Didn't want to be guilty of saying because we were so involved in church, we neglected to be able to make their things. And so I think that was a priority we evolved in our marriage. And I mean, there's challenges in ministry, which also creates challenges in a marriage if you're not careful. And so we try to be able to balance all of that and not allow it to drive wedges between us. That's my take.
And I know a lot of times when we first, things have changed in the church since I grew up, all around. And when I grew up, there was a Sunday morning Sunday school, Sunday morning, afternoon service, YPWW service. We had a Monday break, and there was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday services. Saturday, choir practice. Wednesday night,
Wednesday
Thursday
night
night.
Wednesday night
We had choir rehearsal on Thursday nights. So we were constantly going with our kids. Now we were just a couple, no problem. Then we started having children. So then they were involved and they were going. But it never stopped until, I don't think it hit us until we started pastoring of how much we were going between the church and the family and schools and stuff. And we were going so much.
Plus working.
Plus working.
Bivocation.
Plus working. And how God kept us. And we began to see we need to do some things here. We need to do some adjusting, with the family. And a lot of times our kids stayed in sports. We had 2 boys and 2 girls. The boys are the more sports ones. And so we would take, Ryan would go to church in his baseball uniform. His coach would come pick him up because they knew he had church on Sunday mornings. He'd go to church first, then he'll meet y'all at the game. And he would come pick him up from the church, take him to the game. We would leave church after church was out, go to the game, and whatever clothes we had on, we went to support them. We weren't going to not support our own children. We went to support them in whatever they did. And one of my older son's ex-girlfriend says, I wonder who that woman was running up and down the football field in a white dress and heels. I was following my son up and down the football field because we supported them. Yeah, and we made sure that we didn't make church our top priority when it came to our children. It's not church, it's God anyway. Right. But we were yet faithful to the church and faithful to our children. And it's a balance. Mm-hmm. We had to sometimes split up. He go with Sean, I'll go with Ryan, whatever. We made sure that it worked. When I look back on it now, we were really working. Because it wasn't hard then, but it seems hard now when you look back on it because we split up. We were constantly making sure that they were taken care of, our children were.
What has the feedback been from your children about growing up with you?
They know, well, they were, go ahead.
They come back from being crazy. They don't come back from being crazy till about age 25.
Our oldest one, Stephanie, she said, once I leave her, I'm never going to go to church. She's still going to church. Our oldest son, he's our sound person at the church. So they're okay. I mean, they know what church is. They know who God is. If they decide not to follow God, that's on them. They've been taught. The Bible says, train up a child the way they should go, and when they get old, they will not depart. Mm-hmm. So they may depart right now, but when they get to the senses, it's amazing how you see them going left, but then when they get older, they come back to God. Mm-hmm. I did that at Highland Park. I schooled the kids at Highland Park about church, and I see so many of the kids now they have turned to God and doing things in the ministry. But our children, they respected us for what we believed in. They are a part of it. They may got tired of going. We took them to church in pajamas on some nights because they're going to fall asleep.
That's how they learn to wear pajamas in school, right? They wear them to church.
Yeah. She was starting that trend.
But I believe that they were upset maybe a few times, but
they was going to be upset about something.
Well, one thing about our children, they knew better than to play with God.
Right.
If they couldn't be all the way in, they weren't going to play. And I'll say this. As parents, but sometimes we mess up. But you have to be able to admit to your children when you mess up and ask for forgiveness to them. When Stephanie was young, and we grew up in a Pentecostal church, in this Pentecostal church, women didn't wear pants and all that. So Stephanie didn't wear pants. I mean, and we made her act like she was saved. And then later on, we apologized to her for that because she wasn't professing salvation, but we were making her act that way. And I'm sure she faced a lot of ridicule and stuff like that at school, but we ended up apologizing to her for what we had done to cause any, hardships on her. And I think it surprised her when we did that, but we also wanted to send a message to them, even though you're a parent, you still, if you mess up, you need to apologize.
I've always tried to talk out loud to the children that I've been gifted, whether I birthed them or adopted them or kidnapped them, whatever, however.
Took them in.
And just to say, this is how I was thinking about it. This is why I came to make this particular choice. And I don't think that was the best choice at this point in time. So I'm going to shift to this now. I learned that from my grandmother. My grandmother said, always tell children the truth. Because they have to know that things aren't always right.
Right.
And how are they going to learn to make a decision if you didn't tell them the truth? And her experience was her parents breaking up when she was 17. She was the baby. She never knew anything was wrong. And that really messed with her mind. Now, I think over time it's helped them figure out how I made choices. And I've never not said, I'm really sorry. You know, I really didn't think that all the way through. And I thought that was important. I hadn't been to school yet and learned nothing yet, but I thought it was important because I didn't ever remember anybody saying they were sorry to me.
Right.
And I had a list of things I really feel like I forgot a lot better, you know. So
yeah,
I really agree with that. And I bet you if you were to ask just across the table, what did you feel when I apologized to you? You know, to give a child that much permission to have those feelings, manage them appropriately, and then to say, I could have done a better job. I want to apologize to you for that. Now, that's very powerful. That gives them a real powerful message about how to move forward in their own life. Really, it does. Just like the marriage thing.
Right.
You know, we staying together, so come on in here and say what you need to say. At the end of the day, we're still going to be together, and you're going to suffer the penalty. No problem.
Right. For sure.
You're now running both ends to the middle. We lied to you.
That's right.
What is your experience? You always hear about PK kids, PKs. And what's been your experience knowing what you know and what worked for you in terms of helping other people that may not have their love and their self-care and their marriage as stable as yours? Or have you been able to help them by that same advice you just gave to us?
Some people are receptive to that type of information. Some want to do it their own way.
Right.
I believe there's no sense reinventing the wheel. If someone else is successful, someone else, and I can use it. It's sort of like with preachers. All preachers have a little thief in them. You know, they hear you preach a message. I say, I can use that. I'm not going to use it in the same city. I might take it somewhere else. But it's the same thing with raising kids. I mean, you see what worked for some. It might work for yours. It might not. We learned that we couldn't use the same style of discipline on all four of our kids.
That's right.
Sure.
Every one of them is different, and we might have to wear some of them out. Yes, we did spank. Yes.
Yes, Frank, we will.
They wasn't injured. They didn't have bruises and knocks on the heads. It was okay.
Yeah, they're still living.
But then one of our sons, all you have to do is raise your voice. I mean, so all of them were different, and so you can't have a cookie cutter. You have certain rules for the house, but then when it comes to meting out discipline, we found out you had to use differently. You whatever, because everyone's a little bit different. But and we're not, we don't try to make it sound like we're perfect. Try to make anybody, because we've made plenty of mistakes, but we also learn some things. And if they, if folks ask us, we don't mind sharing what our philosophy was and what worked for us. And so, but it was a lot of us trial and error. A lot of us trial and error.
No one trained us.
Yeah, we didn't have a manual, and so
it's we also learned that when you have PK, our kids are pastor kids. They have some feelings too. They get some hurts too because they are PKs.
That's right.
They get hurt. They get mad at the church.
Well, and
mad at some of the members
also target them.
Right.
My parents raised my 6 cousins, and we weren't always treated very nice. Now, I was assertive enough I could take care of it myself, because what we didn't want, what none of us wanted, was for Beverly to get loose in the house of the Lord and have to get some people straight on some stuff, because she was going to bring it to them. So, I could manage the pieces for me and my cousins if I was present. But it was not always, they were not nice to us.
No.
They hear things and they see things in the church. And it bothers them because we're the parents. And they see how people are treating us if there's something goes wrong. And they want to say so. I said, no, you can't say anything. But no, you can't because you are who you are. But you don't say anything at all. Just let it go. And that it bothers them because they can't say to some members of the church, especially adults, and you're a child. No, you can't say. But you don't say anything, and it's hard for them, and it hurts them to see if we get hurt and how we take it so easy. I had a cousin. They said, "Hey, I want to come to your church and watch you." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because your face never changes. Somebody can say something to you and you just stare right at them.
Not like mine."
And so you just be so at peace and you don't say anything. She said, "Are you the same way at church?" I said, "You have to be. Some things we have to take at church and just not even make a facial expression. Just take it and go home and vent. You know, a lot of that. So
no." We be sitting in big meetings and stuff, and stuff be going on crazy, and I just can't mask my emotions.
He's in the pulpit.
And I'm in the pulpit, and so I look down there, and she'll get my attention. She goes,
"Fix your face."
"Fix your face."
People watching you, fix your face. Because if you frown, they gonna frown too. Fix your face.
What's those flag things that they use when they help the plane come in? John don't need flags to get me right. Hey, look over here. I can already tell this is not going well.
There's sometimes intentionally, I don't take Toy with me. It won't work. She has this thing, especially when I go preach at other churches. There's sometimes she's able to go where I go, and there's other times that she doesn't. But the time that she goes, a lot of times, is the Lord had already talked to her and said, "You have some enemies there." So she's there as a covering for me. And she's very good at doing that part.
Yes.
But if she's in the meeting and it's open dialogue, I'm the one under the table. No, it's good. Not yet. But there's also that good part in that where if that is needed, and we always have to make sure we have a lot of fruit on our tree to give those kind of firm instructions. Of some of that stuff I don't think we necessarily need to hold in as much as we need to be fruitful when we display it. Because even when we're angry or we're sad or whatever, we're still trying to draw. We're still trying to be a conduit that God can draw other people through. So I'm glad we have both of those avenues.
Tune in next week for part 2 of Love Married Moments Self-Care Series with John and Toi and the Berries. Friday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. God bless.